a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show, always helping you win in any marketplace, making you more street smart as a consumer, and serving the local community here as a consumer advocate, bringing on all of the best local area business owners, expert contributors, all types of great expert contributors on the show. Today we've got Michael Emdy in the house. He's our tech expert with Massive IT, massiveit.com. We're going to talk about algorithms, a little bit about algorithms. What are they? How is TikTok different in different countries, as well as some of the other aspects when it comes to social media. We're going to talk about that. Also, State Rep Danny Alvarez in the house as well. We're going to talk with him and catch up on some Florida politics and what else he's seeing out there in Florida politics. So before we do, we want to thank one of our sponsors, Replenish IV Solutions, longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Replenish IV Solutions. I love going and visiting Stephen and Lisa Gunnan's shops here. They got one on Gandy, Carrollwood, multiple locations. They will come to you or your home or office. ReplenishIVSolutions.com. Vitamin infusion drips, get all the good stuff, all boost that immunity up this time of year. Vitamin C's, B's, all the good stuff in your body. Vitamin infusion drips. ReplenishIVSolutions.com. Make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. All right, we got a commercial listing here at 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview. Commercial properties, vacant land, residential properties. We do it all. We're going to help you buy, sell, and invest and take great care of you. 7202 US Highway 301 South, Riverview. We've got two different parcels here. One building is a barber shop. The other is a mechanic shop. Great opportunity for a commercial business, commercial building here in Tampa Bay. 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview, Florida. One of our hot listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. All right, we've got another commercial at 5146 Marine Parkway, another commercial property here in Tampa Bay. Marine Parkway, this is currently operating as a pool and spa shop, and it is an exceptional storefront space. You got large windows that invite natural lighting in, open and versatile floor plan that can be tailored to your business. Also, an owner occupies this space currently as a pool business. Now, across the street, it's a booming area. You've got condos being built right there off of US 19, and it's Newport Richey, up-and-coming area. Great area. 5146 Marine Parkway, commercial opportunity available for sale. And you can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. Check out PlatinumCoastalElite.com. All right, Michael Emdy back in studio. Welcome back in, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, my pleasure. So, yeah, a lot going on in the tech space, man. Talk to me. What are you seeing out there? What are your customers saying? And what's kind of the word on the street?
Well, I think the word on the street is consumers are getting educated. They're learning, seeing from news articles, television, media, everything of what's happening from a security standpoint, compromises, data leaks, right? And there's legislation, there's laws, there's penalties, there's reporting obligations and things like that they're having to deal with.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just seeing it inundated with these requests to, hey, we're not secure. Hey, we need help. Hey, we need to get checked out. We don't know what we don't know. Can you help us? What's going on?
Yeah. It's really, especially for maybe an older generation that of business owners. They've been around for a long time. They've ran a business, and they don't really understand, all these different operating systems or the technologies, the software. I mean, there's a lot to it, especially for that older generation. Do you see that as a clientele, a particular segment of your clientele that may be suffering a little bit more?
Yeah, it's huge because the change is happening so fast. You just can't keep up with it. And I think a lot of business owners, right, generational, right? I'm there myself. And you have to realize that the world has changed and that, the risk that are posed to you, you don't even understand, you don't even grasp.
Right.
And until you talk to somebody like Massive IT or another consultant or someone who's in the know who can, articulate these risks to you and what happens and how to mitigate them. And one other thing that surprises most the business owners we see is the cost. And, it's not just, hey, I need to buy a computer for a few $100, right? It's hundreds or thousands of dollars to properly protect your business.
Yeah, it really is. Talk to me about that. What do you recommend? And I know there's a lot of different size variations there, business wise. But what's kind of a bare minimum that people should have? Even just homeowners, people that just go on their computers to, maybe surf a little bit, pay their bills from home, etc. And then you have that different segment of home-based businesses as well. What do you recommend as kind of a bare minimum?
The bare minimum is going to be getting a code, right? MFA, multi-factor authentication.
Yeah.
Get a code on your phone, whether it's an SMS text message, whether it's an authenticator app that you download out of the App Store and set up and use with your banking, with your medical bills, and whatever websites support that, which these days is pretty much every website.
Yeah.
Because we're having all kinds of problems with the attackers compromising these other websites, getting your data out of it. And as soon as I get your address and your name and your phone number and your email address, I can start applying for credit accounts on your behalf.
Yeah.
And having those things redirected to another mailbox and getting your credit card and using it until you figure it out.
Yeah.
And you know what the mess is like after that, right?
Yeah.
They've already run up the bill. It's in your name. And then, the credit card companies are like, are you sure it's not you?
Right.
We think it might be you. And then
They're skeptical.
They're skeptical, and they got to go through the whole process, right? Who needs that headache?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and it happens in the home, real estate industry too, man. You see people will actually go online, and it's kind of, somewhat easy to do. You'd think that at this point we'd make it harder to do, but
Title fraud?
Title fraud, absolutely.
Yeah.
They'll go in and they'll they'll record satisfactions of mortgages. There's a lot of things they can do to essentially pull equity out of your home, sell your home to an investor. We see it a lot more these days also with vacant land. Mm-hmm. Vacant land, of course, is a little bit easier because you don't have a single family home, bricks and mortar. You're not setting up showings. People aren't going through the home and touring it. It's just a piece of dirt. Hey, do your research. What can you build? What are the zoning? What's the setbacks, etc. And so they're able to do it on those types of properties easier than a single family home, for example.
That highlights the fact that public records are available.
Yeah.
Right? You can go to the tax assessor and you can pull public records and get information about properties and people and contact and details like that. Right. Same thing in the technology world. The original technologies for email, for other technologies that we use on a daily basis that older generations are used to, like we have a server, we have email. Like, what's the big deal? Aren't we secure? I have a password. Mm-hmm. No, not anymore, because those technologies were not designed, right? Like public records are not set up today in the city, county, state governments to be protected from, evildoers.
Right.
And these older technologies were not set up to protect from evildoers.
Right.
They were set up to work.
Yeah.
And to get the job done, just like these public record systems that we have today. But you have to now understand that and understand that people are doing everything they can and figuring out creative ways to exploit all of these technologies and these public record systems is an example of it, right? But same thing for email, same thing for servers, same thing for all these legacy technologies that these companies have in their offices, in their organizations.
Absolutely. Talking with Michael, Emdy, owner, massiveit.com, massiveit.com. If you have any questions or wanted to reach out to the show, we'd love to put you in touch with him. 727-263-3707. You can call the hotline, visit the website, consumerqb.com. Of course, all of our partners are listed there as well. 727-263-3707. I always talk about get a review, get an audit done. Is that something you would offer complimentary, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's the first thing. And we do a free risk assessment. We'll come in, take a look, do a site survey, see what technologies you have, what kind of servers, what kind of email, what kind of security, what kind of workstations, are they up to date, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We'll make a comprehensive report. It doesn't take that long. Give it to you. You can take it and do what you want with it. Yeah. If you want us to address it and take care of the problems that you have, no problem. We'll do that. If you want to take it to your guy, no problem. Take it to them and let them do it, right? Mm-hmm. It's a free service that we offer.
That's great.
We're giving back.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
To do that. And just educating, the public at large on how to be more secure and how to protect their businesses. And so, yeah, absolutely we do that.
Especially this day and age with AI. Let's face it, too. I talked about how, older homeowners or business owners in the beginning of the segment, but let's look at our politicians, right? A lot of the politicians, especially in D.C., they had this big conference around AI. What was your takeaway from that, or did you follow that much? I know Elon spoke out. A lot of people are saying, hey, look, this is an area of vulnerability, not only for businesses, national security. The list goes on and on, Michael.
Yeah, this is I could go on all day for this. Another generational problem that we have, especially in Congress and in the government side, right? Smart people, but just not equipped, not educated, not experienced with technology and how fast it's moving. It's moving so fast. They can't keep up. Who can, right? We can barely keep up. And so you're seeing this happen, and these things are happening, and we're legislating behind the curve, right?
Right.
We're historically legislating, and things are happening, and then we're like, oh, well, we better do something about that to stop it. It's reactive, and we're not thinking ahead. And they're doing the smart thing and talking to smart people, Elon, Sam Altman, et cetera, but we're still not in a position of being proactive to protect against other things that can happen. And this is going to escalate because it's not just, hey, some hacker, figured out how to pull some money out of some financial organization.
Yeah.
This now becomes global, right? Country against country, state against state, et cetera, right? State actors from other places doing things, influencing elections, all these other things that happen, right? Social media, right? Not necessarily that they hacked the voting machine. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't.
Right.
But they definitely are creating fake accounts everywhere.
Yep.
And then they're influencing public opinion, which is therefore influencing the election. So you're having interference. So we, as individuals, as citizens, have to have the knowledge and the wherewithal and the savvy to say, I don't know if that's really right. Like I need facts, not
Critical
just not just what this says. Mainstream media even picks up some of these stories. They can't help it. Right? It looks interesting, and there's some level of trust when someone writes something and says something.
Yeah.
But we really have to have critical thinking in order to protect ourselves from these things that are happening.
Yeah, it was interesting. I remember listening to Charlie Kirk's show, and he had put together, or the guest that he had on had put together some fake, literally like just radical fake stories that actually got published, and I think it was in the New England Journal of Medicine. I can't remember for sure, so I'm just guessing that was it. But it was interesting because they were left-wing stories that, just totally weird stuff, comparing dogs mating with blah blah blah, and they published it. Because
must be true.
It went with their narrative, right? It went along with their narrative, and that they wanted to get out. But yeah, you also talked about social media. I wanted to get into TikTok because TikTok to me is a very dangerous and it's pernicious, especially when you see the pro-Palestinian content and a lot of the anti-Semitism that's in the country right now. I mean, you look at these videos online and you see that they're attacking Jewish students, professors, and it's basically weaponized propaganda on TikTok. And of course, TikTok plays to that younger demographic. And we were talking a little bit pre-show about the algorithms that TikTok uses. What are you seeing?
Definitely. It plays right back into influence of social media across the board. TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, right? Any app, any website where you can post anything you want, anybody can register an account, right? And these algorithms are looking at this in the bigger, more organized systems, like TikTok, for example.
Yep.
And they're looking at who you are, where you're from, and every piece of information, every letter, every number you type into your profile, every letter and number you type into your postings, if you make postings, or just what you're searching on, or just what you're looking at. Every little action that you take in those platforms, they're scrutinizing and using to now deliver content that meets their agenda, right? Because I run a company, you run a company. I don't sit there and just say, well, I'm just going to let happen whatever happens.
Right.
We meet, we make plans, we form marketing campaigns, or we form sales campaigns, or whatever that is.
Yep.
Same thing's occurring in TikTok. Same thing's occurring in Facebook and everywhere else. They're motivated. And what are their motivations? How do we get more subscribers? How do we get more revenue?
Yep.
Right? Are we going to push the envelope on this one?
Right.
You bet they are.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's take a quick break there. More with Michael, MD. He's our tech expert here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Over 50 different show partners, 80 categories of consumer advocate content and advice here daily on our syndicated talk show here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Coming up, more with Michael, MD, massiveIT.com, massiveIT.com here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Follow us online at brandonRhymes1, at CQB Show, and, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll be right back here. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you've been listening to the phenomenal Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback Show.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
I want to give a special thanks to Satellite Phone Store. They just hooked me up with this beautiful satellite phone, and it's a gorgeous phone. It's a great device. It's a safety device as well. Think about it. If you're out on the boat 40, 50 miles out, maybe you're going hunting or you're going hiking in the woods somewhere, you run out of cell phone service, or who knows, maybe a possible terrorist attack. It's not like our politicians aren't entrenched in all this stuff going on overseas, all over the place, all over the world. Could be a terrorist attack. They could attack the power grid. They could attack the cell phones. Who knows what they're going to attack next. Sat123.com/REQB. Sat for satellite. Sat123.com/REQB, like real estate quarterback.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
We're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. We're powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, always helping you sell faster for more money. My wife Lindsay and I own a top 100 ranked team here in Tampa Bay, and we like to feature our listings live on air. It's our strategy that helps sellers sell faster for more money and helping you as well. If you have a property you'd like to get listed, we'd love to talk to you and let you know about more of our strategies here. We've got a property at 7300 Shoreline Boulevard. This one's in Weeki Wachee, Florida. Beautiful property close to Hernando Beach. This is an Airbnb. It's a commercial property with a residential lot included. 5 fully furnished waterfront suites. All kayaks furnishings are included. So you've got a great opportunity here. You've got passive income opportunity. The current owner is a super host on Airbnb, and it's currently operating somewhat of a small motel here, essentially. 7300 Shoreline Boulevard, Weeki Wachee, on the river. Access to the river and the Gulf of Mexico. You can see the mermaids there, explore the outdoors, or just take a break from the hustle and bustle of city life. Great opportunity there to buy real estate. You can see all of our real estate listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. Check out PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Michael. So, we covered a lot of ground that first segment there, but I wanted to kind of come back to this social media, the algorithms, and things that are happening in that space. There's really a lot to be said there. That we had a little brief discussion during the break here. Also, when you look at the ages as well, the literally transforming of the brain. I mean, there's studies that show that, especially for children. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So, as adults, right? We have some critical thinking. We have some life experience, right? And the kids, the younger adults, college and below. What do they say? Your brain's not developed until you're 25?
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yep.
And you're not graduating college until you're 22,
right?
Right? And you still got 2 or 3 years to go before you're fully, developed from a brain standpoint. So these algorithms, they're feeding social media, vaping. Advertisements and things like that, saying it's fine, it's healthy, it's this, it's that, right? And that's driving a lot of kids underage to try vaping and say, well, it's okay, it's not cigarettes, it's not smoking,
right? It's better.
It's better.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's okay for you. It's healthy, right?
Right.
And that's just not true, right? It's a chemical at the end of the day that you're inhaling no matter what, and who knows what's in it, right?
Exactly.
And it hasn't been around long enough to study it and know what it does.
Long-term studies, right?
Maybe it's fine. Right? Roll the dice and let's find out. Right?
Yeah, it's only your body.
Yeah.
It's only your lungs.
Yeah, let's just put one bullet in and spin it and give it a shot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, the algorithms are just looking at it and identifying target markets, target demographics. I can't go as far as to say, because I don't know if it's malicious, but it's definitely targeted. We're targeting people who are doing these things or looking at these things, and we're going to send them these ads and do these things because we don't know who they are or how old they are or whatever the case may be, right? In some cases, you register your profile and put in a birth date, right? But how many kids are putting in I'm 2 years older. I'm 5 years older.
Right.
I'm 10 years older. I'm 30, right? When I'm 15, sort of thing. So how do we control that?
Yeah.
And they're getting influences. And as soon as you influence one, now you have one kid, one real live person who's doing something that their peers are seeing.
Right.
And now that spreads physically.
Yeah.
From social pressure in social situations in real life, IRL, right?
Yeah.
Situations with kids and people like that. So these algorithms could be malicious, but maybe genuinely intended, but they're having negative consequences because they just don't know who's on the other end of that phone.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot there. You also look at the depression rates, the suicide rates that are happening. We have a new contributor, Dr. Scott Anderson. He talks very heavily on that. If you wanted to visit the YouTube channel, see there. But yeah, there's a lot there, man. There was also some big news that came out this past week. It was Nikki Haley saying, essentially to the effect, if you want to have a social media account, you need to have a driver's license on file. We need to know who you are, and a lot of strong conservatives came out and said, hey, I don't know about that. That's not exactly free speech. Somewhere in the middle, there's a place where we need to go here.
I disagree.
Yeah, the government, and when you look at what the government's done over the last 36 months, right? Who trusts the government to give them, full access to everything online? And then you look at, the censorship that happened already. Are they keeping names? Yes, we know they're keeping names. That's another new study that just came out where they're keeping names. They got a list going of people that went to D.C. January 6th. I just heard about it this morning on Daily Wire. And it was basically they're following people with air marshals now. If you went and you were around J6 to D.C., you could be there for a funeral or a wedding, but they're still following you, especially if you have any kind of a MAGA post in your social profile.
Well, think about this. Any website, any electronic communications you've had where you've put in some information, data brokers exist. And those data brokers are collecting that data off of websites, out of profiles, out of forums. They're buying lists. They're buying your information from other companies, right? That little fine print that says, hey, you agree to our terms and service. Right. Who reads it?
Exactly.
Nobody, right? Because it's 86 pages long and the print is this big, and you're like, who has time for that?
Yep.
I'm trusting that you're going to be responsible and respectable with my information, with me, right?
Exactly.
Me to you.
Exactly.
And they're not.
Yep.
And so these data brokers get this data, and then they can correlate that data because they can say, well, I know that you went to this website at this day and this time, and this was your email, and this is your phone number. Maybe you put in your phone number.
Yep.
When you order dinner from Outback, you're putting in, your information and what phone number do you want us to text you a message at? Well, guess what? That data gets harvested and then correlated, and now they know who you are, what phone number visited and likes to eat Outback, and they can correlate that to something else. And so after a while, they can collate all this data together, and they can have a profile and a picture. And now we're targeting ads at you.
Yeah.
We're targeting other decisions at you, banking decisions, right? There's an article about banks now wanting to look at your social media to see if you line up with their core values and their perspectives and whether or not you're going to be approved for loans or finance or an account or whatever the case may be, right? Do you line up with them?
It's coming. It's coming more and more, especially the big names, BOA, the Wells Fargo, multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar settlements over the years for a lot of nefarious stuff they're doing. Michael, that's almost our time for today. 30 seconds, final thought, and how do you want people to connect?
Final thought is technology is inundating our lives on a personal level and on a business level. And we need to have the critical thinking as business owners and as individuals to take care of and protect ourselves, both professionally and personally.
Right on. MassiveIT.com. Check them out online, MassiveIT.com. Michael, always great catching up with you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Taking a quick break. We're going to come back. We got State Representative Danny Alvarez in studio with us. We're going to have a discussion about Florida politics, what he's seeing out there, and more here coming up on the show. And we'd love to connect with you on PlatinumMVPteam.kw.com. Also, Consumer QB at CQB Show at Brandon Rhymes 1. And check out the website, ConsumerQB.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.